Hi, I'm doing a video here now quickly about logical fallacy on a4.pdf. If you want to look for this on Google it. This is a quick summary of a few in this video. This will be part one, because I'm going a bit too long if not. I'm going to do a part two. So what is a logical fallacy? In short, it's what often happens when someone is wrong about something. In slightly longer than short, it's a flaw in thinking where something doesn't make sense or doesn't follow logically. People will often commit logical fallacies as a way to trick others into believing that they have a good argument when they don't. But with the information in the following pages stored safely in your brain, you will become impervious to such tricks for the rest of your whole entire life. If you spot someone committing a logical fallacy online, link them to the fallacy they've committed at www.yourlogicalfallacyis.com. And if you want a free poster with all these fallacies, you can download one from the same website. So we're going to the straw man. You misrepresented someone's argument to make it easy to attack. The straw man fallacy belongs to the red herring group of fallacies, which are so named because they have the purpose of throwing one off the scent by exaggerating, misrepresenting, or just completely fabricating someone's argument. It's much easier to present your own position as being reasonable or valid. This kind of dishonesty not only undermines rational discourse, it also harms your own position because it brings your credibility into question. If you're willing to misrepresent your opponent's arguments in the negative, might you also be willing to exaggerate your own in the positive? An example: after Will said that we should not put more money into health and education, Warren responded by saying that he was surprised that Will hates our country so much that he wants to leave it defenceless by cutting military spending. So that's a straw man argument. I'm going to go into these a lot more in detail over the coming weeks. False cause. You presumed that a real or perceived relationship between things means that one is the cause of the other. One such mistake in thinking is the cum hoc ergo propter hoc. With this, therefore, because of this fallacy, in which someone presumes that because things are happening together, that one thing is therefore the cause of the other. The mistake lies in ignoring the possibility that there may be a common cause to both things happening, or, as per the example above, that the two things in question have no causal relationship at all, and their apparent connection is just a coincidence. Another common variation is the post hoc ergo propter hoc. After this, therefore, because of this fallacy, in which a causal connection is assumed because one thing happens prior to another thing happening. Therefore, the second thing must be caused by the first thing. An example: pointing to a fancy chart, Roger shows how temperatures have been rising over the past few centuries, whilst at the same time the numbers of pirates have been decreasing. Thus pirates cool the world and global warming is a hoax. that just made me laugh, that one. And then you got appeal to emotion. You attempted to manipulate an emotional response in place of a valid or compelling argument. Appeals to emotion include appeals to fear, envy, hatred, pity, pride, and more. It's important to note that sometimes a logically coherent argument may inspire emotion or have an emotional aspect, but the problem and fallacy occurs when emotion is used instead of a logical argument, or to obscure the fact that no compelling rational reason exists for one's position. Everyone bar sociopaths is affected by emotion, and so appeals to emotion are a very common and effective argument tactic, but they're ultimately flawed, dishonest, and tend to make one's opponents justifiably emotional. Example: Luke didn't want to eat his sheep's brains with chopped liver and Brussels sprouts, but his father told him to think about the poor starving children in the third world country who weren't fortunate enough to have any food at all. That's an appeal to emotion. The fallacy. Presuming that because a claim has been poorly argued or a fallacy has been made, that it is necessarily wrong. There are few things more frustrating than watching some poorly argue a position. Someone poorly argue a position, one holds. Much of the time, a debate is won not because the victor is right, but because she or he is better at debating than their opponent. If we're to be honest and rational, we must be mindful to not jump to the conclusion that just because someone made a mistake in their defence of an argument, it doesn't necessarily follow that the argument itself is wrong. An example: Mr. Moore said the preemptively hitting someone was a bad thing to do because you're an idiot. It's natural to be a pacifist, and one time his grandfather, who was a Nazi, hit someone. And won't someone please think of the children? The slippery slope fallacy. You made out like if we allow A to happen, then Z will eventually happen too. Therefore A should not happen. The problem with this reasoning is that it avoids engaging with the issue at hand, and instead shifts attention to extreme hypotheticals, because no proof is presented to show that such extreme hypotheticals will in fact occur. This fallacy has the form of an appeal to emotion fallacy by leveraging fear. In effect, the argument at hand is unfairly tainted by unsubstantiated conjecture. Example: Colin closest asserts that if we allow same-sex couples to marry, then the next thing we know we'll be allowing people to marry their parents, their cars, and bonobo monkeys. That's a slippery slope fantasy. Sorry, fallacy, not fantasy, fallacy. I've got nothing against same-sex couples or anything like that. I mean, I'm just reading what's here. So basically, someone's saying that because same-sex couples can marry, the next thing you'll be having people marrying the parents, the cars, and the bonobo monkeys. That's a fallacy. That's not going to happen, is it? Why would people be marrying the parents, the cars, and the bonobo monkeys? Like I said, it's a fallacy. False logic. Ad hominem. You attack your opponent's character or personal traits instead of engaging with their argument. Ad hominem attacks can take the form of overtly attacking someone, or more subtly casting doubt on their character or personal attributes. The desired result of an ad hom attack is to undermine one's opponent without actually having to engage with their argument or present a compelling argument of one's own. Example: after Sally presents an eloquent and compelling case for a more equitable taxation system, Sam asks the audience whether we should believe anything from a woman who isn't married, was once arrested, and smells a bit weird. Tu quo quo. You avoiding having to engage with criticism by turning it back on the accuser. You answered criticism with criticism. Literally, translating as you too, this fallacy is commonly employed as an effective red herring because it takes the heat off the accused having to defend themselves and shifts the focus back onto the accuser themselves. The implication is that if one's opponent also does the thing that they are accused of, then their opponent is a hypocrite, irrespective of whether this might be true or not. The problem lies in the fact that it is effectively a tactic to avoid recognising and responding to the criticism of one's argument, by turning it back on the accuser, and the accused doesn't need to answer the accusation. Sorry. I went off there for a minute. Example: the blue candidate accused the red candidate of committing a tu quo quo fallacy. The red candidate responded by accusing the blue candidate of the same, after which ensued an hour of back and forth criticism with not much progress. That's it for this one today, part one. Well, not today, I'll do another one in a second. The next one's going to be personal incredulity, and I'll be carrying on from there. Thank you.